Hey, are you a high achiever who struggles with perfectionism? Do you get stuck in the cycle of overthinking? Do you do everything for everyone else because you think otherwise it won't get done? Do you feel like you should come with a disclaimer? Hi, I'm anxious. Hey, I'm Katy. Full disclosure, I'm not a therapist, doctor, or mental health professional. I'm just a career mama who also struggles with anxiety. For me, anxiety reared its head at the most inconvenient times when I wanted to be present with my family, at those high pressure business meetings, when I was laying in bed awake at night worrying instead of sleeping. I just wanted to relax and be able to have fun, and I know that you do too. What if you found tools to manage your anxiety? What if you knew how to enjoy life even though you are anxious? Look, it's time to put down that third cup of coffee and swap it for some lemon water. We're going to get control over anxiety so it can stop controlling you. Let's go, girl. Sweet soul, welcome to the High and Anxious podcast. I'm so glad that you're joining me. You have to forgive my froggy voice. I've come down with a little cold. 'Tis the season. But that's okay. I've been doing my best to love myself through it and give myself rest and nurturing where I'm able, in fitting with the theme of this month's topic. We've been talking about self love here. If you didn't listen to the last episode, episode number 120, please go back and do that because I give you a piece of homework that will set you up for the next steps of this session or this series of episodes about self-love. So go back and listen to episode 125 if you haven't done that already and do the homework. Because what you did over this past week, if you've been doing your homework, is you've been noting down where you may not be offering yourself some self-love, where you might be pushing yourself to achieve in ways that just aren't helpful or healthy for you. And then what I want you to do is, as your next step, I want you to look through this list and I want you to think about how instead you could have offered yourself love in the moment, whatever that might look like. So, for example, one of the things that I noted was I had a tight deadline on something and I was pushing myself with every free moment I had. I'm not kidding, every free moment to work on this project to hit this deadline. And I just realized, I was foregoing even the basics. I wasn't eating. I was like, oh, I'll just skip this meal because I have this thing to work on. I was giving up sleep to do it. And honest to goodness, that wouldn't have been necessary. I got the thing done on time before deadline. But in the meantime, I was miserable about it. And looking back, I can see that. And looking back, I could have offered myself some more self love and grace throughout. I could have been eating some snacks. I could have been not setting my alarm for that much earlier in the day to get up and work on the project. So I want you to do this for yourself with those things that you noted down where you were maybe pushing yourself to achieve, making yourself anxious rather than offering yourself self love. And I want you to think about how those two things could coexist potentially if you could think of some ways to still do what you need to get done, but also be offering yourself some grace, some peace, some love. And I also want to offer that might start with you stopping and doing a self check in the moment. What do I need right now? Before you get started with the work session, do you need to get up and use the restroom and get yourself some water? Before you say yes to a project, does it mean sitting down and consulting your calendar and your partner to see, hey, is this something that we should be taking on right now? If it's something that's within your control to say no to. Does it mean being really honest with your boss when they ask you to do something and telling them, I want to say yes to this, but I already have A, B, and C on my plate. So you need to know that if I take on D, it's going to impact A, B, and C. And how do you feel about that? So I think that there are ways that you can find opportunities to love yourself and nurture yourself and care for yourself while still also doing those high achieving things that you want to do, while sometimes pushing yourself to the limits, while sometimes maybe saying yes to things that you maybe shouldn't have, or you maybe should have at least questioned a little bit more. And I really want you to do this for yourself. Think of some ways that for yourself in your life, you could be offering yourself some more self-love. This is a really short and sweet one today, dear souls, but I think that it's really important that you take the time to do the work on this yourself. If you're not already a member of my free Facebook group, please join. The link to join is in the show notes. We'd love to have you there. That's a place where you can go to deepen your work on this week's homework in a supportive, loving, caring community. If you want some help, if you want some feedback, we're there for that. Love to have you. Again, the link to join is in the show notes. Thanks so much for joining me today, sweet soul. I can't wait to talk with you next week. Hey friend, thanks for being here. Did today's episode help you feel more in control of your anxiety? Did it inspire you to rest or relax? Or maybe it challenged you to really look at why anxiety is a part of your life? If so, I'd love to hear from you. If you would take 30 seconds, pause this episode, scroll down in Apple Podcasts, and leave me a review, I would be so grateful. See you next week. Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional, and this podcast is not providing therapy or medical treatment. Contents of the podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider with your health questions and concerns.